Hey folks, Rob here. And my last video, I had several people suggest that maybe I should take the cylinder out of my older Heritage Rough Rider and put into my new Rough Rider and try that. They thought the cylinder might be out of spec. And I done that in a previous video. Took it out and showed that I don't think it's a cylinder, and here's why I don't think it's a cylinder. Okay, here's the Black Widow, and I don't know if you can see that or not. Whenever I rotate the cylinder, it's like it forces. Wait, let me rotate it with the hammer. Okay, you can see the gap there. When I pull the hammer back, it shoves the cylinder forward. And I think what it's doing is shoving it so far forward that the gap back here is wide enough that the firing pin is not consistently hitting the primer hard enough to and then when you let the hammer down, you see that that gap opens back up. I don't know if you can see it there. And then when I go to half cock, it actually becomes even wider. So you can see it there. And if I rotate this by hand, you can see the cylinder cams forward and then drops back. Now, and you can see the gap in there, right in there. So it cams forward, drops back. When you cock the hammer, it pushes it all the way forward, opening up this gap right here. So I don't know if the frame's out of spec, but what we're going to do is I'm going to remove this cylinder from this gun. Set it right there. I'm going to take the cylinder out of my other gun. Now this is the way it does. So as you can see there, let's get it where you can probably see the gap. There's not much of a gap there. And when see, it doesn't force that one forward. And the gap back here at the back of the cylinder is, I mean, you can see through there, but it's very minimal. You have to get it just right to see a little light. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the cylinder out of this older model, and these are both empty. And I'm going to take this cylinder out of the older model and put it into this newer gun, just to prove my point. And I will shoot it too, just to make sure that it's not, you know. I can get this to go in. There we go. Okay. So this cylinder acts the exact same way. See the gap? As I pull the hammer back, forces it forward, opens up the gap at the back, which is definitely wider than the other one. As I release the hammer, the gap opens back up. See, when I take the pressure completely off, the cylinder comes way back. So as I cam forward, pushes it forward, opens up the gap at the back. So I do not think this is a matter of function of it still hangs. There's no difference in the rotational of it, the rotation. If I can hold it steady, you can see it cam forward there. When it comes back, see how loose that is? I don't know. All I know is it's a new gun that I had less than 2 weeks. Um, when in my shooting video over here just like yesterday, I shot 44 rounds through it. It had 4 misfires and 44 rounds, so that's an 11% failure rate. I don't think that's even acceptable in a 22 caliber, which I know you can get bad ammunition, but you know, the likelihood of that are not so good. So, but I am going to take this out and shoot it with this cylinder in it, and we'll just see if it continues to have failures with this cylinder. And if it does, then that just proves my point that it's not a problem with the cylinder, it's a problem with the gun itself. Wide gap, and you can see this one has a considerable amount of movement in it. So I think it's just pushing so far forward that the gap there is wide. Let's put the cylinder out of the gun that we think is defective into my older gun. And see what it looks like in that. So there's the cylinder, and you can see that gap is a whole lot less, and the gap up front is a whole lot less. So I don't know, we're going to take it out and shoot it. I'm going to put a few rounds through this one with the cylinder out of the Black Widow, and I'm going to put a few rounds through this one with the Black Widow with the cylinder out of the older Heritage, and we'll just see what happens. So stay tuned and we'll do that.